Welcome everybody to the rescheduled OMC regular meeting on February 21st, 2025. I'd like to address the council at this time just for a few seconds. There have been some suggestions that some of our speech is going on a little bit too long, and police has got a watch for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If it goes past 5 minutes, we're going to have to hit the gavel.
That's a long time, 5 minutes.
Go
That's how you do it, Lacey, for me.
And as is our custom.
So that's a suggestion?
As is our custom.
It's a suggestion.
After is our custom, we go to the prayer.
Suggestion.
Tradition. I asked the councilman,
I mean, it's a long
prayer.
time.
We're reading
All right, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning, Aaron, give you thanks and praise for all the blessings you give the great Osage people. Lord, just watch over us as we wrap up the last couple of days of this cold weather. Even with the snow and stuff like that, it's helped Mother Earth and give her a drink. Lord, it's been rough, but we made it through it, and we're here today to take care of the business of our people. Lord, just watch over all of us as we move through this day and the rest of our days, Lord, and take care of our people that are in need today, Lord. Keep people warm that need that warmth, Lord, and keep them safe and keep them healthy, Lord. Let's watch over all of our elders and our children, Lord, as we move through these days and these weeks, these months come into the springtime, Lord. Just watch over all of us and let us do the best that we can with the gifts that God has given us. We ask all these things in His heavenly name, His Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Read the, see something, brother.
Following is a list of deceased that have passed. February 25th. Kenneth S. Edwards. Letitia R. King. David B. Patrick. Robert F. Wiley II. Andrew E. Gray Jr. Betty P. Cotter. Corby L. Nankus Sr., John W. Rapp II, Hannah L. Smith, Leah R. Carlin, Franklin L. Oberly, Wilhelm L. Merv Jr., Eleanora A. Supernall, Donna M. Barone. May they rest in peace.
Thank you, brother. Also,
It's good to see
Charlie Wilson, our council, after we get through the superintendent report and all the others reports, he wants to go into executive session. That's all right with the council. It's up to you. Okay, roll call. Raleigh.
Councilman Big Horse,
Here.
Second Chair Tishawala,
Present.
Councilwoman Irwin,
Present.
Councilman Redcorn,
Here.
Chairman Red Eagle,
Yeah, here.
Councilman Rebar,
Present.
Councilman Shackelford,
Here.
Councilman Waller.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Lacey. Thank you, council. Superintendent report. Thank you, Cam, for being here.
You're welcome. Good to be back. So I just guess, since I haven't been here in a little while, has Adam just been giving the report the same way that I did? Okay.
Not as good, but that's okay.
Okay. Oh, we'll just pick up where we left off then. Okay, so oil and gas and water royalty for December. The total oil produced was 311,404.37 barrels. Royalties paid were $3,204,771.25. Total gas produced, MCF produced, was 117,646. Royalties were $33,904.16. The total gas liquids produced was 88,328 gallons, and royalties were $12,664.79. The total tank bottom was 68.87. Royalties paid were $169.48. Water usage royalty was $850, and the waste disposal royalty was $3,077.26. Oil and gas rentals paid were $2,930.80. There was no oil and gas bonus paid. Rental in the amount of $828.09. Saltwater easement rental was $1,500. Lake payment charge was $580.80. And the other minerals, APAC produced 50,680.11 tons and paid $62,133.81. Candy Creek Crusher produced 7,334 tons and paid $8,800.55. Burbank produced 11,326.68 tons and paid $14,498.15. Wilson Ranch didn't produce any. Rocky Banks produced 198 cubic yards and paid $165. Schmidt Brothers produced 168 cubic yards and paid $126. The producing well count is 16,452. Approved permits, there was 1 workover permit, 11 plugging permits, 0 emergencies, and 3 drilling permits. And there were no new drilling completions reported. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Tammy. Any questions from the council? Councilwoman Herbert.
First of all, that waste disposal royalty paid, is that all down at Armstrong?
Yes.
Okay. And then my second question is, where's the Wilson Ranch?
They are located outside of Skytook. I don't know exactly.
Right past the dam, you drop off, and that's, I think that's the location you're looking for.
Okay, so I just know they're kind of out by Skytook Lake. It's about
We had to go out there.
as I can get.
They're west of Skytook?
They're actually, east of the dam. You go across the dam, when you turn, right in that bottom. I had went there with the OMPD to look at the location here.
I've been to other meetings down there, they have some kind of weird place down there.
Excuse me, dear.
It's okay. I wasn't, if you had a better idea than I did, so.
No, it's hard
I
to
just
find.
knew
It's
Skytook.
hard to be in the Denver area.
Councilman Rebar.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Tammy. So in light of the fact that our superintendent has been terminated, are you serving as our acting superintendent again?
I am. I have received, at this time, a 30-day detail, so.
I asked them to stretch that to 120, please, as required by the federal government.
I wasn't sure why it was only 30 days. It
Oh,
was
I
just
know why.
Because of everything that's going on. I offered to step up and help out,
Are you
so.
active right now? Are you?
Yes.
active? So if we negotiate a lease today, you could approve it?
Well, we have to go
We'll
through
do
the
the
process
process.
of it, but yes.
Well, that's what
She proves it.
were there any other employees affected by the executive order that snagged our superintendent?
Not here at Osage, there was not. Across our region, we lost 10 probationary employees.
They're not here at the OSA.
None other than Adam, no.
Is there a freeze on hiring? Because I know that in there are 7 positions you're trying to fill.
There's several that need to be filled. We were actively working on 3. There were 3 that we were actively working on filling at the time the executive order for the hiring freeze took place. So, yes.
What kind of backlog do you see over here? I guess this just happened just days ago. So, do you anticipate any delay, any significant delays in the normal day-to-day operation?
As far as I'm aware, I believe, because sometimes we have to rely on regional staff for certain things, especially like with the permitting process, not as much as like what the rest of us do. but through subsurface, they do still rely on the region for certain positions. I don't believe any of those were affected at the regional level, so at this point, I hope to not foresee a huge backlog. If there is one, I would foresee that in my own department because there's only 2 of us. And if I'm now having an additional hat in addition to all my regular duties, that's where my department may hinder just a little bit, but typically our lessees, operators, they're very understanding that we're working as diligently and quickly as we can, and I'm still there to help Susan as much as I can in addition to these duties.
Thank you, Kenny.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Irwin and Councilman.
I find it interesting that you said that our permits go down to the regional and they have people down there that perform.
No, they're not going to the region. There are just certain things within environmental that go back to the permitting that, like, we don't have an archaeologist on staff here. So we have to rely on the archaeologists at the regional to.
Okay, well, I just want to know what services they use.
Yeah, no, it's mainly, and I kind of did misspeak, it's kind of more with the environmental part of things, but it's more directly related to the subsurface side. And it's mainly because we don't have that archaeologist on staff. So we do have to rely on the regional archaeologists for anything environmental.
Do we not ever use that archaeologist that the nation has? I can't think of her name.
I'm not sure that, is that the Dr. Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure, I know they've had meetings with her like in previous years, like way previous years, but I'm not sure to like what extent she can sign off on our documents. So, but usually, like I said, those things still are moving through the process, and to my knowledge, the subsurface department at the region was not affected.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Waller.
Yes, sir. As a point of order, I'd like to ask that the council look at the review of why she only got 30 days detail. As a former employee, I know that's 120-day detail. I don't like the idea that we lose a superintendent. We're already manufacturing a shorter element here. And let's not even go into the experience and being Osage. But that's what I would just like to do as a comment only. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilman Rick.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the last superintendent was pretty much a pro, or wanted to really help, get our information out, all kinds of stuff. It kind of troubles me that that's our center message to Secretary Byrd. I think we need to, first of all, say we are very interested in drilling for oil. And we are aligned with what he wants to do, and I think that should be our focal message. Then to get there, one of the group's assistants in that endeavor would be to bring back the superintendent who seems pro production. But I don't want to forget why the reason we're all here, sitting here, is to get more leases. And so to me, and we did have that conversation, Mr. Rebar, Bill Lynn, and I, with Harold Ham and his vice president, who thought that was a good idea, that we go chat with Byrd and tell him we want to produce. We want to lift all the barriers so we can get after these leases. I did talk to Shane Madsen. I asked him to review some points that people have made, and he said 3 things. One was we got to get our production history. We got to get our production records. That should be a focal theme to what we're saying today. The other is we need to shorten the permit process and make it more consistent. Because these guys are going out and they're looking for ways to finance these, and that message has to be conveyed to the persons that want to drill in the Osage. So my thought, 1 of 8, is put him in the equation that we want to come back to drilling. But our central theme should be, we want to participate in the vision of drill, baby, drill.
Thank you.
Councilman Regal.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. On the subject of well records, I know that the superintendent has told us they're available to the public, but they're not really. And I understand that they were going through a redaction stage process to have them scanned and redacted. And then in batches, we used to get some, but that there's not funding to continue that at the present time, and hasn't been for a few years. So I doubt that you know the status of what that is right now, and I assume that it's not yet been funded. Hopefully with the new administration, we can address that issue again, like Councilman Redcorn mentioned. But regarding the records, I do know that if one person wanted to look at a record of an active lease, they could get a letter from the lessee of that lease granting them permission to view that record and submit that to you all next door, and you would pull the folder and let them look at those records. I know somebody who's done that recently, and during that process, they had Alfred over there at the agency, I'm not certain of his title, but sat with him during the whole time he was there to review the record. And he asked the person reviewing the record, asked Alfred, you know, you don't have to sit here with me, I'm fine, you know, I don't need any more assistance. He said, well, I have to be. So is it a requirement that an Osage, that a BIA employee has to sit in the presence of the public when they want to look at one of our well records? What is the procedure for that?
And I believe that's always been the procedure. I believe even previous to me being in minerals, that has been just a process because those are considered trust records. And you're not that we're saying anyone's going to stick them in their pocket or their folder, but we just have to maintain that duty that those are trust records and keeping our eyes on them if they're not with an actual employee.
And I must be really trustworthy looking, because in the 47 years that I've been operating up here, and I think Jones and Buck probably tell you the same thing, we don't have any babysitters sitting
I'm
with
gonna
us.
speak on behalf.
When we look at well records, and I've been doing it for 47 years, I've never had anybody insist and require that they sit with me when I look at a well record. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I was being treated special. But I think that's really, with you all being shorthanded, I just can't imagine why you would want to allocate what limited personnel you have for a task to sit with grown men while they look at a well record.
I completely understand.
Can you waive that as acting superintendent?
No, because that has just, not to my knowledge, I cannot, because that has just really always been out. As long as I have been working in the minerals department and how I was trained, that was the policy. So I'm not sure, like I said, maybe
It's
you
a
were.
policy. So I'm glad you brought that up, and I've just got, if you started
Actually, it was
that
instituted with
I laid it sideways for you, sir.
about the policies, we did ask and receive written policies from the superintendent once, and we have like 8 or 12 of them, which is good to have because it's not in the CFRs. So I don't think this policy was on that written, so maybe you might want to add this one on your list of policies. And the reason I asked, if somebody new, like, comes to here to operate wells, they need to know what the rules are. So we give them the CFRs, but that's only half the story. We've got these policies. So we kind of need those written down too. Thank you,
You know,
Chairman.
those in-house policies are by the superintendent, they're not in law, they're not.
Councilwoman Irwin.
Those policies you're talking about, that's something that was instituted by Robin Phillips. Yeah, they used to have people go in there and see the records without being babysitted, but when she came, they did it. I don't know who told her to do it, but she did it. And the policies that she did, they called it best management practices, and it's something that they would make up. And actually, they were doing the BLM, what they were doing over
Protocol.
BLM, and taking it and rolling it into the best management policies, because we fought them too hard on changing the 25 CFRs. So, no, that's just something that the superintendent made it up when Robert Phillips was up there. It's not law, it's not 25 CFR.
Okay.
Are you through?
Yeah, I'm through.
Councilman Redcorn.
Thank you, Chair. One thing I heard in Houston, I can't remember the guy that got up, he was a showcase presenter, talked about a holistic approach going forward for energy management. One of the things that, and I was kind of disappointed because after hearing the political discussion of drill, baby, drill, I was encouraged. Go down to Houston, they start bringing up CO2 and electrons and that kind of stuff. I thought, this place is supposed to be for oil and gas, I thought. But those were quiet comments I made to Mr. Lynn and that kind of stuff. But in listening to this guy's conversation, he talked about a holistic approach to management of your resources. With that comes CO2 management and some of these other things that we have if we're going to approach that for 1.5 million acres. Then the conversation got into AI. How are we going to, how this can assist you in development of your resource. This is a conversation to everybody. So I said, I've done, my knowledge of AI programming and all that. Garbage in equals garbage out. So if you don't have the information to put into your AI, you're not going to get any useful results. So that's, to me, one of eight, is going to make this conversation with the Bureau and say, we've got to have that historical information. And we can grab that and start pushing it through the processes we need. We've got a really good website designer. As much information he's been sitting on his hands because there's no data. So if we can have a bulk push to bring this data in front, we can manage it. We can manage it. In the meantime, we can make a decision how we're going to parse that out to our producers, but we've got to have that information. If total reservation management, to include all these energy and carbons and all this, we've got to have that information. If we don't, we're shooting blind. Going forward, this is a long-term discussion. And so if it's not going to happen under this office, and I think it's our responsibility to look for value on the Reservation Mineral Council, I'm gonna plead that we get all our records so we can grab that and start parsing it into these programs. Without it, we'll be shooting blind. So that's, I think, Chairman, that should be our central thing. That should be the added discussion to getting our well records. Thank you.
Just the idea that the council's already reviewed that under Nilogems. That's what we were looking at. Creating the satellite unit here for the council. AI is going to be exactly what's going to save us. As far as the documents go on the federal side, is that monitored by video, that room?
No, that room is not.
Then that's one reason they have to do it. The other is they have to secure the items because it's spy versus spy in the oil field. So if they got a scanner in their phone, they can take any kind of document they want. Then the next question is, I want them to. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. It should be exactly what we're talking about, is this program, and we might as well look into it, that would suffice what you're asking, and the council. But we already started with the Nilogems to fold in with the honor system, which is being used, and the criteria of the information itself. we've argued this over and over for 3 terms. I've said here and heard this. I just want to say is that why don't we AI our program? Because somebody gave it to IHS, wasn't us. So they had a free grab of all that information. Of course, now they want us to pay for it. I want them to do us the same way for this the AI program. Thank you.
This is the last comment now.
Okay. Are you suggesting that we put a video camera or something in that room, operator's
I'm
room?
not suggesting anything. I'm a council member. That's their job.
Thank you, Tammy.
Make a request.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll keep you posted there.
Okay, we'll do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see any VTF people here, and I don't see any treasurers here, so.
I can give their
I'll
report.
entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Jim, couldn't we, take care of this new business? I don't think it'd take very long, so they don't have to wait.
No, Raleigh's he's got a schedule, he's got a meeting.
Oh.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Irwin, second by Councilman Waller.
I'm good for it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Councilman Big Horse?
Yes.
Second Chair Tishewala?
Yes.
Councilwoman Irwin?
Yes.
Councilman Redcorn?
Yes.
Chairman Red Eagle?
Yes.
Councilman Rebar?
Yes.
Councilman Shackelford?
Yes.
Councilman Waller?
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you, council. The audience, if you excuse yourselves, appreciate it very much.